What it do? Welcome back to After the Snap. I'm your host, Tasha Pierce, and today is Sunday, so we streaming some stuff, y'all. We streaming some stuff. So this week's episodes that we will be discussing will be Prodigy, Book of Boba Fett, and a Peacemaker. And generally, we start with the Book of Boba Fett on our Stream Something Sunday uh, uh, program. We usually start with the Book of Boba since Boba has been running. That's what we've been running with. And I guess today will be no different. But before we jump into all that, just remember that all of these discussions will be full of spoilers. Just just loaded, just chock full, overflowing with hey, Angus, you're the first one here. Glad to have you, sir. So yeah, it's gonna be spoilers. If you haven't watched this stuff and you don't want the stink of spoilers on it, then I don't usually like to turn people away, but this might not be a good idea. And if you don't care, join us. Jump in. Angus, are you watching all three shows? Are you watching Prodigy, Book of Boba Fett, and Peacemaker? Say the alarm you set worked. Yes, it did. You're number one today, guy. Yeah, it's been a weird week. I got a theory. I don't know if I'm ready to put it out there in the atmosphere yet. I shared it with one person, a theory that I have, not even about any of the shows that we're watching, but about the what's the name of the stinking show that I'm Picard slash Discovery. I got a theory. I hate again, I did share it with one person because I had to get something out there, but I don't know if I'm ready to share it with everybody because heck, it might be wrong. uh, what? You don't like Prodigy, sir? Well, we're going to jump off with that second anyway. But Book of Boba Fett and Peacemaker are also on the agenda, so at least you got something. You got something to hang on to, hang your hat on. I actually have been really enjoying Prodigy. More about that when we get to it. But and I find that even though I know that this show is not aimed at me, I am truly invested in what this crew is going through. But Book of Boba Fett. Now, I'm not 100% sure how I felt about this episode. I know that this is it, the part of the story it has to be told. I'm waiting on some real action, but not that it's a bad show. Book of Boba Fett is actually a pretty darn decent show. Uh, there are reports out there that Tamora Morrison had a couple problems with the show himself, and that he, while they were shooting, tried to remove some of his lines because he feels like Boba Fett is talking too much. Now, of course, that got derailed when John Favreau found out that Tamora Morrison was trying to make changes to the script while he wasn't on set. He said, "No, you say every line." So I think what John Favreau, his vision for Boba Fett, with all the dialogue that he has, is to give us an idea of what the guy's personality is. Because really, all we knew of him, it's like seeing your teacher. You got a teacher, and you only see your teacher at school. So your teacher at school is one way. And then you mess around and see your teacher out at a restaurant. And now your teacher suddenly has a personality. Well, that is Boba Fett to me. Boba Fett was one way because he was quiet and he was just doing his job. And now we are finding that there are layers to this man. And a lot of people are not are not liking the layers. And it seems like Tamora Morrison himself is not liking the layers. I am enjoying uh, finding out that this character is more than just a brawn in a situation, and that he is capable of learning a new way to be. And of course, I haven't invested as much in the character as a lot of you out there. I'm not I'm not as fully invested as a lot of you. A lot of you have been fans of Boba Fett all the way since all the way going all the way back to the original trilogy. I get that. But for us who this is kind of not a new character, but somebody who we saw him in Return of the Jedi last time I saw him, Return of the Jedi, and then it was nothing. I didn't think too much more of about him because he just didn't uh he wasn't as important of a character. But I see the importance of the character to so many other people. So I am getting a brand new, I guess, a brand new appreciation for Boba Fett. So this episode is called The Gathering Storm. Uh, Let me see. Angus said Favreau plays a long game with all his Star Wars projects. If he put the lines in there, it's because he sees a payoff later. I agree. He sees things a lot the way I would compare it to like Kevin Feige. There are seeds that are planted in one show, one movie that turns up in another show, another movie. James Gunn with Peacemaker. I'm seeing a lot of that because if you go back and watch some of the scenes from Peacemaker, uh, from the first episode to where we are now in the fourth episode, you see some payoff. It's insane the way their minds work. I trust Jon Favreau. I trust them with this character and with this franchise. Now, if they want to put the franchise in Jon Favreau's hands, I'm 100% behind him being the mind behind a lot of these new Star Wars projects because what they've done so far with him kind of helming him and Filoni kind of helming things, I have found it quite interesting, and it is it is a plan instead of just flying by the seat of our pants. And I don't know, a lot of people feel that that's what Star Wars had been doing. I don't have a dog in that particular fight, but I do like so far what we've been seeing with uh the book of Boba Fett. And of course, we open up with this episode, The Gathering Storm, with Boba still on his lone mission. He just found his tribe that he had kind of been assimilated into. This tribe of Tusken Raiders had been pretty much decimated by this attack. Now, we're assuming that the attack, because the tribe living quarters were tagged with that same tag that the gang was using over at that cantina. So we see Boba, he's kind of still in mourning. He's all by himself, and he decides, I am going to go and get my doggone ship and my armor, because those were the two things that he's like, I need my ship and I need my armor. So he's on this lone journey, and he comes across Fennec Shand. Fennec Shand had just been dumped from the, and remember, we're going back to the Mandalorian. She had just been dumped in the desert to die. This is where we saw nothing but the spurs on the boots, and heard the spurs, of course, of Boba Fett walking up to Fennec Shand on the sand, and he saves her life. The picked her up, and he realized that she was very injured. She had been shot, so he took her to this guy. Now, he is the person who is he does the mods on people. So just like the little gang that we saw in the book of Boba Fett that I really didn't like, that little gang, just like we saw them with all the modifications that they had on their body, this guy is one of those people who completes these modifications. And Boba knows that the only way that Fennec is going to be saved is if she gets some modifications. You know what I'm saying? So they put her on the table. This guy does the mods, and Fennec is okay. And when she comes back, she tells Boba, look, I'll help you get your ship since you helped me, but I'm on my way. Thundercat. Oh, is that what the guy's name is? Is that who he is? Y'all have to teach me because I don't know who Thundercat is. But how you doing today, Mr. Brown? Oh, and I got Kaz in the house. I got everybody. You guys are just in this thing. Angus says, as a doctor, he has very steady hands you can trust. Now, I am wondering, yeah, I don't know if I trust these hands. Oh, and Kaz says, Thundercats, oh. So yeah, I knew I had read something. I couldn't remember, and I didn't write it down what his name was. I know he's when I saw this young man, the first thing I thought is he's got to be a musician. He had serious Wyclef Jean vibes coming off of him. So yeah, this guy, he's the doctor. He does these modifications on Fennec. Fennec tells Boba, I'm gonna help you get your ship, and then I'm on my way. And Boba was like, okay. All right, help me get my ship. And that is what they do. They go, they infiltrate where his ship is being held, and hijinks ensue. They get the ship. So now Fennec doesn't particularly have to go along for the next part of this ride with him, but she does. And you know what? One thing, and I'm sorry that the quality of this picture is bad. One thing that Boba wanted to do was get vengeance for his fallen family. And he went and he took out that whole biker gang. And he was like, these bikers took out the tribe of Tuscans that I was living with. And Fennec dropped something like, that don't even sound right. Don't sound like this biker gang could take out a tribe of Tuscans, not in no fight. No. So she put the bug in his ear, and hopefully he got it, that it's probably somebody else. Now, I'm not saying that they didn't have anything to do with it, because then that would mean that Boba and his ship not being called Slave One right now, it is being called just the type of ship, which is what, a fire spray ship. Is that what it is? He's calling it by the type. It's just like me saying, instead of me calling my son's car the Blue Beetle, we say, well, we're gonna go get in the Mitsubishi. So this is the fire spray instead of Slave One. So he takes out that whole biker group though. So hopefully they did really they were behind, or at least part of what took out his Tuscan family, because if not, Boba just killed a lot of people for no reason. But we get back to Black Chrysanthemum, and I'm telling you, when I saw him sitting in this bar, the look on his face, Angus, you're thinking like me. It's the Pikes. It's totally the Pikes who took out the family, or at least if they didn't do it, they paid some people to do it. So I agree. When I saw Black Chrysanthemum sitting in the cantina drinking his beer, he had that lean. This dude looked like every dude in the club that's about to start a fight. They all have the same look. Black Chrysanthemum was no different. He had that vibe. He had that look. I knew it was coming. I didn't know who he wanted to fight, but he was staring somebody down, and he gets up and he starts fighting the Trandoshians. I hope I'm saying that right. Trandoshians. I think I got it right. So he starts whooping on them. All these Trandoshians, tossing them apart. Jennifer Beal, Is that her name? Whatever her character's name is. She comes and she's like, hey, you don't have to do this. Everybody knows this is beneath you. Everybody knows that you can throw down. I am going to dismiss your whole bar tab if you just let these people go in peace. You don't have to. You fought in bigger crowds. You're a whole MMA fighter, Chrysanthemum. Why are you doing these street fights? You can get paid in the MMA. You can't get paid on the street. Chrysanthemum looked like he was thinking this whole thing over and that he was going to put this Trandoshan down. And I think this is the first time in this series we see somebody lose an arm. And he yanked this Trandoshan's arm right the hell off. Now, that and he paid his bar tab also. So he's also a good customer because he paid his tab. But that brought me back to last week. I'm looking at Chrysanthemum and how easily he manhandled this Trandoshan. And I'm wondering to myself, how did Boba even stand a chance in a fight that he wasn't even looking for? Chrysanthemum woke him up out the back the tank. He didn't even know this was coming. How did he stand a chance? Chrysanthemum could have pulled him to pieces. That's just a little bit of, we dumbed him down last week, and now we're showing his real might this week. I'll pick up these comments from Angus and Clarence here. Angus said, Wookiees and Trandoshians each have a home world orbiting the same star. They hate each other. Less savory members of the two races hunt each other for sport. And it makes me think about going back to a couple episodes ago where the Trandoshan was giving his tribute to Boba, and it was a Wookiee pelt. So it kind of did make me think they got some kind of bad blood with one another. And this is why just staring at it, it's like being in the wrong gang, in the wrong neighborhood. And, you can tell I'm from the hood. But it's like being in the wrong gang, in the wrong neighborhood. You see those colors, and all of a sudden that look. And, I'm telling my girls, we got to go. They are about to fight. Oh, you think Trandoshan's arms grow back, Clarence? That would not shock or surprise me. There are certain types of reptiles that can regrow appendages. So I wouldn't be shocked or surprised. I hope that turns out to be the case. And Angus is seconding your emotion. He says they might regrow limbs at that. I don't know, but I can see it. Yeah, they might regrow limbs. Wouldn't it be funny if we see that freaking Trandoshan again? Of course, I wouldn't recognize them. I don't want to sound racist, but they all look alike to me. Wouldn't it be something though if we saw him again and he had both arms and the one that he got ripped off? That would be funny to me. But the look, Black Chrysanthemum is black. Because that's the universal look of I'm gonna beat your ass. That is universal, especially if we're in a club/bar. I'm gonna beat your ass. That is the look. So yeah, I was really and of course, just like I kind of gathered, first Bobo, he goes and he hollers like, what is all this about? He's talking to the cantina owner, but he also has a conversation with Chrysanthemum. He's like, hey, if you want to, if you're looking for work, I got work for you. You come kick it with me and my people, and we can give you, work. And Chrysanthemum agrees. And it's exactly what I thought. He now has a new member of this tribe that he's building on Tatooine, and as far as being the daimyo, he's building his little clique. And it wasn't, of course, it wasn't the least bit surprising that he recruited him. Why not? You let him go. He might feel like he owes you a debt. So now all these people owing Boba a debt, and he's not enforcing it with fear. He's enforcing the debt like, just whenever. You just pay me back whenever. You don't you ain't gotta, as long as you come to work and do your job. That's all I'm asking. He's not trying to strike fear in their hearts. He's doing it again through respect. I can feel it. I can dig it. This one, and then towards the end, he has a meeting with all of the houses, all of the different factions that are daimyos on Tatooine, and he's like, "Look, somebody is gonna come take over. It might be somebody that you don't want. So I'm asking you guys to join me in the fight." And everybody around the table looking at each other like, "I don't know about this." And he says, "You know what? If you don't join me in the fight, just remain neutral. Don't just promise me you won't even get into the fight." And they all make the promise. Of course, I think somebody is going to betray him, but somebody else is going to join his ranks. Don't know who. If you guys got ideas of what's going to happen or what you think is going to happen with the families who are, and I keep calling them families, but these different daimyos, these different crime lords, if they are going to, and I keep saying family because it was it intentionally took me back to like The Godfather, took me back to those kinds of movies where the heads of these crime families all sit down and they have a dignified meeting and they come to some agreement. And just like in every one of these kind of mobster movies, or somebody is going to be on the wrong side of history. Somebody is going to betray the top house and they might pay for it. So y'all let me know what you guys think. I don't know if I got anything else for him. Oh, and then he had to get his armor. He was like, he's not very persuasive without the armor. So he got the armor. We didn't see that in this episode, where he got the armor back, because of course all of that we went over in The Mandalorian. One of the things that I know this face too, that's the face of a woman that's telling. I'm telling on you. But one of the things that was kind of, I guess it was kind of shocking, because I didn't think we was going to see Mando in this series. But then at the end, we get the little Mando music. So I'm like, okay, is Mando coming? Because now he needs help. He needs an army, because the storm is really gathering around him. He needs an army. So is Mando and other Mandalorians, are they going to come and help him in this battle? If we're going to see Mando Din Djarin, then it is going to be in that final episode. But they hinted at it. They definitely hinted at it in this episode. So you tell me what you think about the Gathering Storm, Book of Boba Fett. This one wasn't the strongest. I give this one a 3.75 out of 5, just like I did last week. Wasn't a terrible episode. We now have what looks like all of the flashbacks. We seem to be caught up now. Once he got to Fennec and we see how they ended up together, seems like we're through with the flashbacks. So now we're going to get into, let's build this army. Claire said he's definitely coming, especially with the Mando motif near the end of this episode. Exactly. They hinted at it. And I guess I would be here for it. I'm wondering if other Mandalorians are going to come as well. Will we see, and you guys help me out with the female Mandalorians, the two that were in the Mandalorian when they saved when they saved Grogu. You said we might see Bosk, a Trandoshan bounty hunter from Empire Strikes Back. I'm gonna have to look into who that is because I don't know. As a matter of fact, I think I do. I think I remember him. Bo-Katan. Yeah, Bo-Katan. I wonder if we're going to see her and her little friend. Because you can remember the other one's name. I can't either. I could easily look it up, but I'm trying to like just go off some of this stuff. I'm trying to just pull from memory. I'm trying to not be so dependent. And then I depend on y'all. I just lean on you, just leaning, putting all my weight on y'all shoulders. But yeah, this one 3.75 for me. Thinking is hard, Cass. Yes. Every time I start thinking, my nose bleeds. And then I have to, yeah, it's a lot goes into thinking. Oh gosh. But I do think that we are going to see Mandalorian. I hope that we're going to see Bo-Katan. I don't know about this Trandoshan bounty hunter, but yeah, throw him in there. I don't know whose team he would be on. Throw him in there though. Why not? And yeah, with Fennec and the little biker gang and Black Chrysanthemum, they still don't have enough people. They don't have enough people, so they need an army. Even if we got those few people we just talked about, they need an army because whoever is coming, they're not coming with 10 people. I wouldn't anyway. In no way in the world I'm going to try to take over a planet without hundreds of people. So we'll see exactly what happens with Mando. I mean, with Boba Fett. I keep saying I'm going back to Mando because now we're getting excited. At least I am that we'll see him come to his new friend's rescue because they've cleared any debt from one another at this point. Mando helped him. Mando gave him the armor, and Boba helped him get uh, Grogu back. So they're even. They don't owe each other anything. So at this point, if Mando comes and helps out Boba, it'll be out of the kindness of his heart because he sees him as at least an acquaintance, maybe a friend. And I'm wondering if Mando comes, what brings him there? Like, will the fact that we saw old girl from last week, if we saw her walking around in the background, will she have been the person who sounds the alarm that there's a Mandalorian on Tatooine that's in trouble? So Reinhardt's in here too. What's up, Reinhardt? So you're loving Boba Fett too. It's so good. It is. It is a good series. Again, this wasn't my favorite episode. I guess if I had to pick a favorite so far, my favorite episode was probably episode 2. But all of them have been solid episodes. They just this one wasn't the strongest of the 4 that we've gotten so far. There's this group, and I tell you guys, sometimes I just go into these fan groups just to see what other people are talking about. There was this one guy, I guess he's a guy, I'm assuming it's a guy, and he said, I've only gotten through the first 5 episodes and I just stopped watching Boba Fett. And we like, why is this man lying? So first of all, it hasn't even been 5 episodes. And you could tell he hasn't watched any of them because he thinks all of them dropped at the same time. So he said, I got through the first 5 episodes and it's just no good. I just didn't like it. Gosh, some people, I tell you. Reinhardt said, although right now I'm binging one of the greatest shows in television history, just his opinion. Ozark just came out the other day with Jason Bateman. Cass said, welcome to the internet. Yep. Oh, Clarence says, I like how they made the cybernetic stuff make sense, even though the bikers felt out of place. Yes. Actually, it's always been in Star Wars, but not so openly, I guess. So now it's metaphor, message. We're getting a message, and things that had used to be closeted and something to be ashamed of is now being openly done, and people are accepting it. And message, uh, well, Reinhardt, we're about to go into what you're watching, but usually when we are talking about a show, we try to stay on that show, and then there's a segment for when you want to bring in another show. But I'm about to bring that in, so you're not too early. So since Reinhardt jumped it off, and he wants to tell us how much he loves, tell us about his love for Ozark. Let me know what you're watching. So you say Ozark is your go-to show right now, Reinhardt? Oh, see, I don't know. I don't know nothing about their role-playing games. Swoop gangs, those are the speeder bike groups. They're a big deal in the Star Wars RPGs. Thanks for letting me know, Mr. Osano. Oh, you said you don't know anything. You're on the second episode of, but that's Ozark, right? And that's the that is the show you're selling this week. You say Ozark is what you want to, what we should be watching. Um, you said you should probably get out until you guys are done. What are you talking about, Reinhardt? Till we done with what? I don't know, and I'm thinking that I say something and then you hear it like 10, 15 seconds after I say it. I need to give you an opportunity to answer. Is what is the problem, because I keep forgetting that there's a delay. So I'll say something and I've moved on to something else, and y'all be still talking about that one thing. And I got to give y'all that 10 or 15 seconds to catch up. Yeah, I don't know. You said you binged Yellow Jackets, Angus. So let's see. We got Ozark so far. We got Yellow Jackets. What you think of it? It looks like you thought it was good. Hey, Lysandra. Welcome to the show. Hey, everybody. I forgot to mention also, Lysandra is home from the hospital. She beat that COVID thing. So yes, I'm very happy to see her in the chat today. uh You said you thought some of us had already been watching Ozark. I that was one I never even started. I don't think. I keep saying I don't think I started it, but I had to have, because I kind of remember like the first episode, but I didn't go no further. I don't think. Um, but Lysandra, we're on what you're watching. So let us know if you got anything new that you're watching too. Clarence said Lilies of the Field, Euphoria, yes. Peacekeeper, you did the same thing that I used to do. I was calling it Peacekeeper for so long. You're doing the same thing I did. Book of Boba Fett, Prodigy, Station 11. Are you liking Station 11, Clarence? I loved it. Now that I binged all the way through. Station 11, Lilies of the Field. I'm writing stuff down this week so I can remember what you guys have recommended. Cass said, I heard Yellow Jackets was supposed to be fun. Everybody is welcoming Lysandra back from her. Man, she felt like she was a prisoner in the hospital, but she beat that thing. Man, she beat it. Clarence says, yay, welcome back, Lysandra. Reinhardt said, Lysandra, glad you're doing okay. I didn't even know you were sick, but God bless you. Yes, we have been talking about it, but you've been working, Reinhardt. Yeah, she caught COVID, and it was you know she's got a heart condition, so it was rough for a minute, but she beat that thing. That is speaking to the efficacy of the vaccine from keeping things from getting completely out of hand. So I thank God for my best friend. uh Clarence, you said you've seen the first 2 seasons of what? Tell me. Lysandra said, thank you. Appreciate it. Angus said, oh my, yes. Talking about Yellow Jackets. Very good. Well balanced show. Name of the characters are well balanced. They all are broken, but the story is well balanced. I don't even know what this story is about, but now you about to make me. What is it on? What is Yellow Jackets playing on? And Angus, you told me that euphoria kind of felt a little bit too real for you, and completely understand. This that series is a rough series, and that's why I said I can't talk about that one on Sunday, because we talk about so many light-hearted kind of series, and then to just drop this bomb in the middle, I'm like, I can't do Euphoria on Sunday. Just can't. You said Station 11 is kind of too slow for you right now. I liked it. I can't say that it is going to get super fast, but it is a thinker. It's a thinker. So it's not a lot of action going on, but it is going to make you think. But I liked it. Lysandra said, you're watching What Happened to Monday. I don't even know what that one is. What happened to Monday? I'm writing it down. Okay. Reinhardt said, Station 11, you don't even know what that is. Now, Station 11 is kind of, boy, it was almost a little meta in the beginning. It's about a post kind of dystopian, post-apocalyptic society, and what they do to survive. There is only certain little pockets of humanity left, and how they use art, kindness, and love to survive. So it's not a heavy show, but to me, it was a good show. Sidney Poitier movie, Lilies of the Field. It seemed like that's a book I had to read when I wrote it down. I was like, that sounds really familiar. Yes, it's a book. I think we had to read that when I was in school. Angus is saying, welcome back, Lysandra. And she is saying, thank you to Reinhardt. Thank you to Angus. Angus says, Yellow Jackets is on Showtime. That's why I don't have that. I can't get it either. I don't have no monies. Yellow Jackets is on Showtime. It's half a mostly female take on Lord of the Flies. The other half is the adult lives of the survivors coping with what they did to survive. I wish I could watch it. I've heard so much about it. What'd you say? A little bit of personal information, Reinhardt? What was that? Claire said, I've seen the movie What Happened to Monday, and he enjoyed it. So, okay. Where can we watch that one, Lysandra? Because that was your recommendation. Oh, okay. Here's the rest of your comment, Reinhardt. Your stepdad is home from the hospital, and he's basically in hospice right now. Although he is still at home, he's got the hospice people coming out to see him. Yeah, I've experienced, you know, yeah, it's almost just being kept comfortable. I am really sorry to hear that. Really sorry to hear that. And Lysandra said that what happened to Monday is really good. So tell me, Lysandra, again, where I can find it, because I don't know. I truly don't know. Look, Lysandra, there is this part in the Book of Boba Fett. I don't know if you're still watching Book of Boba Fett, Lysandra, but this character, Black Chrysanthemum, now he was at the club, girl. He was at the club and he was drinking, and what does look even look like to you? Because I say I recognize the look immediately, but you tell me what it look like he about to do, where he look like he's at. Where does he look like he is? Because I'm telling you, there was this little spot telling you about me and Lysandra when we used to run around when I used to go outside and she used to come out and hang out with me when I was at home. We went to this spot. We go to this little spot called Roxy's. And I'm telling you, basically, I lived at Roxy's. So just letting you know, I had no drinking problem back in the day. But this look, you can't see it, girl. It looked like he looked like every dude that we had ever seen at Roxy's that's about to jump into a fight. That's what he looked like to me. and that is exactly what I thought. I was like, oh, they at Roxy's. Yep. You said it's on Netflix. What happened to Monday is on Netflix. Got you. Now I'm about to get into Prodigy in a minute. And you are going to watch Boba Fett tonight, I think. And you couldn't see my raggedy little picture. Okay, so I'm all caught up there. So we got some new stuff to watch. Ozark, the Yellow Jackets, Lilies of the Field, of course, going back and taking us back to Sidney Poitier in his heyday. And what happened to Monday on Netflix? I think I said that. And what was the other thing that I'm watching? Oh, I'm watching besides Station 11, I'm watching gosh, what is the name of the show I'm watching? Raised by Wolves. Raised by Wolves. That was a good one. And then I watched a documentary on Netflix called The Puppet Master. And if you just want to get pissed off about how people can get duped by another bad actor, watch Puppet Master, because it's gonna piss you off. You said we had a blast back in the day, girl. Yeah, we got the pictures to prove it. Oh yeah, we were a mess. And Reinhardt said that was honestly one of the best fleshing out we've gotten of a Wookiee. We've had man, you and your punctuation, Mr. Reinhardt, you messing me up here. That was honestly one of the best fleshing out we've gotten of a Wookiee. We've had Chewie for 40 years, and they haven't really done that much with him as they've done with this character. I got you. And you said, oh, you watched What Happened to Monday a long time ago, and it was a really good show. I think I'm going to try it out. I don't know when. Can't lie. I don't know when, but I'm going to watch it. Man, Clarence. Love the world building and Raised by Wolves. Weird ending to season 1, but I'm down to check out season 2. Well, I'm not finished with season 1 yet. So let me see. But you like it enough that you said you might check out season 2. I like it enough so far that I'm very interested. I want to be through with it before February 3rd when season 2 drops. So those are awesome, very good suggestions. Thank you guys. There's some new stuff in here this week. I really appreciate it. And okay, you said Raised by Wolves is good, confusing at times, but good. Yeah, I'm thinking at what episode am I on now? I might be on episode 6. So maybe I'm about to run into some stuff that is going to be a little bit more higher concept than than the beginning, because the beginning is really good. It is really good. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on with Mother, but we'll talk about that. I don't want to ruin it for those who may want to join in and finish Raised by Wolves. If we're all in agreement, then we will watch Raised by Wolves probably after Boba Fett is over, right? We could pick up Raised by Wolves and watch that. Depending on what you all think, though. And Clarence, Reinhardt is now another fan of Clarence's podcast, discussing Trek. That's part of the Discussing network of podcasts. They talk about all kinds of geek stuff. So when you want to listen to an audio podcast while you're driving, while you're washing dishes, while you're supposed to be walking through the neighborhood, but you're too fat and lazy to get up, so I just sit and listen. When you're supposed to be doing those things, check out Clarence's podcast wherever you can get a podcast. Because I'm telling you, I've been a fan for since the beginning of Discovery. We were heading into Discovery. I ain't had no friends. Sad Tasha, didn't have nobody to talk to, and they became my friends. And I've been listening, and I've made a friend by listening, by being a fan of the show. And I listen regularly, religiously. Yes, I do. I'm probably pretty sure that they dropped that thing, and then you look at your analytics, and you can see Houston, Texas. I got to be at least one of the first, say, 10 people to download that episode. So I am proud to say that I am a fan, and I hope you all will give it a chance too. And I don't know what this is right here, but I just got to block the user. Oh, you know I love y'all, Clarence. Now you know I love y'all, even when I don't agree. I'm telling you, because sometimes I don't agree. Shucks. Now we're gonna talk about some more Trek, and we talk about high concept. I said those two words. This was a kind of high concept for a children's show. They made it understandable for the kids. They made it understandable for this old broad, because sometimes when we start getting into these whole time flux type situations, this is a situation where the kids could get easily lost, because you thinking, oh, this is happening at the same time. It's not all happening at the same time. It is happening in waves. And let's just get into it. Let me see. Okay, so it starts off with Janeway trying to teach the kids a lesson, pretty much using the whole chicken, the grain, and the fox story. You got a bag of grain, a chicken, and a fox, and you need to get them across this river, but you can't. I think you can only take them one at a time. I can't even remember. Let's see. And I didn't even put like how many you could take. But anywho, you can't take them all at the same time, because the fox is going to eat the chicken is going to eat the grain, right? You need to take all three over safely. So the kids were supposed to be trying to figure out how to get all three safely across this river without them losing a chicken or the grain, right? So instead of working together to try to figure this thing out, shit just goes haywire. It looks like Zero was about to get it, but shit just went haywire. The kids, they didn't learn this lesson. They got a little frustrated, and she was like, I can't, Janeway, hologram Janeway. She's like, look, we are Starfleet cadets and woody woo. She give him a little pep talk, and Dal finally says, we are not Starfleet cadets. Now, this is the first that Janeway's heard of this. What do you mean you're not cadets? Dal finally comes clean, tells the truth. We need to just tell her the truth. I'm tired of just walking around here lying to this lady, tell the truth. So Zero fills Janeway in on what's going on, and I don't know how she felt, because right after this we see this big purple haze of stars and whatever. We know we're about to fly into something dangerous. They fly into this some kind of anomaly. It's like a temporal anomaly. Correct me if I'm getting this whole thing wrong, Clarence. But they fly into this anomaly that is distorting time, and it's also threatening a core breach or a warp core breach. And if that happens, that protostar that's in the middle, the protostar, the drive on the ship, it is going to explode, and that's going to be a mess. Oh, yeah, it's a big wibbly purple thing in space. That's exactly what it was. It was a big wibbly wobbly timey-wimey ball of trouble for for the U.S.S. Protostar. And so they had to start thinking. Now, everybody, after they've made these revelations to Janeway, everybody is in separate parts of the ship. Jankum is down close to the warp core because he's trying to figure out why it's going wonky. Janeway kind of figures out that we're heading towards this temporal anomaly, and it is about to mess up everything. So she's there with him, but of course she's a hologram, so she's not in any danger. He is. Jankum didn't stand a chance. Jankum did not stand a chance. The ship is now in temporal flux, and his portion or his version of the ship has exploded. And I say his version because what happened, and it was so dope, like when Janeway was phasing out of time, such a dope effect that they used in this cartoon to show her being pulled in a bunch of different directions where a version of the ship exists at different points in time. Yeah. So Clarence said, I like that this story was unique in the fact that everyone was in their own space and time, all moving at different speeds. And that is where we're going next. Of course, I'm going to come back to him. This is the graphic, and I'm going to make it bigger so you guys can see it. Hopefully you can see it anyway. So what we see here is the graphic that Zero used to show exactly what was going on the ship. Zero is figuring things out, and basically he knows that, and he used some freaking sine, cosine. I want to say, what is that? Is that physics? He used some advanced physics, or maybe not advanced. He used some physics to show us that, okay, at each point in the ship, the further away you get from where the anomaly started, time starts to move differently. So for some people, time moves way, way faster. For other people, time moves way, way slower. So Jankum, because the way he got knocked out the box so quick, time moved quickly for him. So he was extinguished rather quickly. Now, the next person down is Rock Talk. Rock Talk, the time is moving the slowest for her. She's going to be alone for a very, very long time. But time is moving the slowest in her place. And then in each mark on this graph, time is moving at different rates. I think with what's her name over here, Gwen, time is probably moving at normal speed for her. So she's the closest to normal speed. Everybody else didn't. Trig, yeah, there we go. She's the least affected by the time analogy, but as it turns out, they have 10 minutes before the entire ship is going to blow. but that 10 minutes is moving at different speeds at different points in the ship. I don't know if I'm making sense here. They made perfect sense of it. They made it understandable for a kindergartner. Me, not so much. But if you're seeing where our characters are located, you're seeing where things could potentially go wrong. The person who has the most amount of time is Rok-Tahk, but Rok-Tahk is afraid because Janeway comes to her and like, we need to make a warp core. Did I write it down? Was I smart enough to write it down? I wasn't, but I bet you it's in these notes over here. So let me see. Before I move on. But anyway, before I go into that, in the meantime, with the stuff that I am not hip to, this thing happened with him, the diviner, that doggone Nandi, Ferengi Nandi. She went and told diviner where he could find this ship. Now, we all asked the question last week, even if she tells him where to find the ship, how is he going to catch this ship? They are like on the other side near the Gamma Quadrant at this point. How is he going to find the ship? He didn't have to. He didn't have to find the ship because he sent schematics to Prodigy, sent it straight to their vehicle replicator, which we learned about that all the way in episode 1, that they have this vehicle replicator on board this ship. He sent schematics to the vehicle replicator to have Dreadnought built on that ship through the vehicle replicator. Tell me that wasn't like some sharp thinking from this guy. So this here tachyon wave was what we're calling it. And I don't know why I forgot how we love tachyons in Star Trek. So yeah, we had all the technobabble. Of course, they made it where kids can understand. They have to make this warp matrix. And then we see Janeway bouncing from time space to time space, trying to get this warp matrix built. The person who had the most success in building the parts that he needed to build was Dal. But before we even got to Dal, we had to holler at Rok-Tahk. So Janeway is telling Rok-Tahk what she has to do, and she's trying to explain to her how she has to do it. Rok-Tahk is having none of it because we know, even though as big and as imposing as she looks, she is the youngest person on this crew. She's a baby. It was too overwhelming for her. So she said, computer, make Janeway go away. So now she shut Janeway down on her timeline. We go up to Zero. We know Zero is very much like Spock. In fact, he says fascinating quite a bit, just like Spock. So he has a lot of the answers already, but he doesn't have time to build the warp matrix. Plus, he's got these crazy little mechanisms for hands. They are making things a bit clumsy for him. He doesn't have the time to make this warp matrix, but he sends it down with Janeway to the next person. The next person, no, and this is just showing you how many different versions of the ship it is. But the next person that Janeway encounters is Murph. So that was Murph is worthless, but he's cute. Murph is worthless in this situation. So then, of course, Dreadnought is building himself on the ship because Dal, I don't have a picture of Dal. Okay, so Dal is, when Janeway gets to Dal, he's playing his game. She explains to him the situation. He gets up and he's like, you know what? We'll just use the vehicle replicator because it's there. But then you go there and find out that it's already in use. Now they don't have time to try to figure things out, try to wonder why this thing is in use, what's being built. He now has to build this warp matrix by hand. So he gets all the scattered parts and he gets all the way to the end. He's built the warp matrix. He finally found the confidence to build it and stop doubting himself. And finally, when it's time to plug the two things together, incompatible, he blew it. Or at least he felt like he blew it. But actually, he got further than anybody else. But now we have to pass it on to the next person, and hopefully they can complete the project. Janeway then finds Gwen. Was it Gwen next? Gwen. It's got to be Gwen, right? Yeah, it was Gwen. So she finds Gwen, and like I say, she is the closest to things being at regular time. But all she has to find is a piece to make those two ends compatible. And guess what? She couldn't find it. On top of that, here comes Dreadnought. Now Dreadnought is attacking the ship. He erases Janeway using Chakotay's uh, credentials. So he knows Chakotay's credentials, and he did it in Chakotay's voice. So there's another piece of the puzzle as far as our greater dilemma, where we are the storyline for the entire season arc. There's another little piece there. He finds Dreadnought. He finds the piece, but Gwen thinks quickly and shoots him out the airlock. When she does this, oh my God, I can't tell you how heartbreaking it was for me. The freaking warp matrix that Dal had built went right out the airlock with him. So now Gwen, with her last few minutes, has to give a pep talk to the one person who is still left. And the one person who's still left is Rok-Tahk. And we already know she felt some kind of way. She did not think she could do this. She did not feel she had the knowledge, and she was overwhelmed. She, in her timeline, she's gotten rid of Janeway. Gwen is basically sending her a captain's log and telling her, look, you are our only shot. I know it's overwhelming. I'm going to send everything that you need, all the information that you need to finish this project. The only way that we all survive this is if you finish the project, and you can do it. Rok-Tahk. Oh my gosh. I was so sad. These scenes broke me so bad because time was pretty much standing still for her. And she was alone on this ship. And it was evidenced by looking at the sink of all these bowls where she had eaten food, and just stacks and stacks of bowls. So you can see how many days and how many meals that she had by herself, to the point where she made her a little stuffed animal of Murph. She was still talking to the other crew members. She left everything just the way they had their bunks and everything. It really, really broke my heart. It really broke my heart. And I guess at some point, she knew that she was either going to die here alone, or she was going to build this warp matrix. And she built the flipping warp matrix. It took her 200, I can't say 276 days, but it took her 276 tries to bring Janeway back. Because remember, Dreadnought, he had erased Janeway. What's her name? Rok-Tahk had to figure out how to bring Janeway back after she had already built this warp matrix, because she needed Janeway to tell her where to put it. So she had gone through all of this. She taught herself advanced math, unlike Latasha Pierce, who couldn't even tell you that this was trigonometry when we're talking about sines and cosines, even though these are classes that I took, although those were 20 years ago. But anywho, she taught herself advanced math. She taught herself everything that you would need to know to build a warp matrix, and she built it. She did it. The one piece of the puzzle that they didn't have was the plug, but Dreadnought had basically found that. So now that last piece, she could plug it in. but she needed to know where it went. And that was the one piece of information nobody passed on. So she brought back Janeway. And Janeway is like, oh my God, kid, you are the same. You haven't aged a day, but you have gotten so mature. And just to hear Janeway give you that kind of, yes, girl, you did it. And now plug it in and bring your friends back, girl. So she plugged it in. She brought her freaking friends back, and they were so happy. They were so happy to see her. And I was happy for her. But you have to wonder, even though she like gained all this knowledge over all this time, because it probably felt like an eternity for her. So after she gained all this knowledge after all this time, and she said, now she's going to, I guess she wants to talk about what position she's going to play in the crew. But you have to also think this damaged her in some way. Now I'm going to pick up freaking comments because I've talked for a long time without doing so. Clarence was saying that it was such beautiful growth for Rock Talk, and I agree. Now you said, what is Dreadnought the fox in this episode? Dreadnought is the he is the associate of the diviner. So it appears right now that the diviner, the diviner is kind of the bad guy. Yeah. But I don't know how much Dreadnought is like kind of pulling strings too. They're working together though. They're working together. You said, wouldn't Rock Talk have had to fight Dreadnought? But it depends on how long it would have taken in that elongated time period for him to appear. So maybe I'm thinking that 10 minutes was so stretched out that it was probably a long time before he was even going to appear because of that. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Also, when Dreadnought was complete, shouldn't she have been able to use the vehicle replicator? Yes, she should have, but there was nobody to mention it to her. This was an idea that Dow had. He could have, and Janeway said that was a great idea. It was a great idea. It just didn't work. So now you come back and Janeway is erased. Dreadnought got rid of her. So Janeway couldn't pass that piece of information on to the next person, which would have been Rock Talk. They checked all the boxes. Even everything that I thought to myself, just like you, Clarence, but I watched it so many times. But everything I thought to myself, well, couldn't they have done that? Then I look at it again and I'm like, no, they couldn't have. It couldn't have, because the one person who did survive each one of these explosions of the ship was Janeway, because she's a hologram. But Dreadnought messed that up when he was like, all right, erase Janeway. And he erased her before she could go and give Rock Talk the next piece of information. Now, Angus said, the puzzle at the beginning is a tale for the episode's plot. A fox, a chicken, and a bag of grain. I'm figuring that Dreadnought isn't the chicken or the grain. Well, I'm looking at it like, who is the chicken or the grain? Because I'm not getting the connect. I know that there was the way I was looking at it is this was an exercise that these kids were supposed to do together, and they refused to work together. But we get to the end and they're forced to work together, even though they were doing it like individually. Each one of these kids had a different piece to the puzzle, and they finally solved the puzzle. Now, if there's a greater analogy between besides just the team building, I'm missing it. Yeah, so I don't know if Dreadnought was the fox. So yeah, but I thought this was, to me, one of the best episodes. Like, I thought, first of all, when I saw Time Amok, I thought to myself, oh, Amok time. We know it's going to be timey-wimey, because the stuff that happened in I think that's the original series that we had an episode called Amok Time. I honestly did not think that I was going to love this episode the way that I did. He said it's like a game of telephone that actually worked. Yeah, and I guess because the person that's delivering the next piece of information was always Janeway. So it wasn't like, even though the kids were coming up with these solutions, Janeway was the person passing the next piece of information. So she's a reliable source. If the kids had to do it themselves, I don't know if this thing would have worked. I don't know. It really, it required everything to happen just the way it did. I was very excited that everybody was in a different place, that nobody was in together where they could collaborate. They all had to come up with these ideas on their own, the next step to solving the puzzle. The solution to the puzzle is to think outside the box. You take the chicken back on the second trip. No one said you couldn't take someone back to the start to solve the puzzle. And that's what Zero said. He was like, there was no, I mean, he said that in the beginning. So Zero was the closest in the beginning to solving it. If he would have talked it out with his friends, the rest of the crew, they probably would have come up with the answer. You could take something, you don't have to take, you could take one across, but that doesn't say that you can't take one back. So Zero was the closest to catch it, or closest to answering the puzzle. The rest of the kids wasn't really working with him. But now when we get to this situation, Zero is still the closest to solving the problem, but everybody listened to him, or at least Janeway did, and she passed on that information to everybody. Think outside the box. Yep. Because again, without Zero, the puzzle doesn't get solved. That was the first puzzle, and then that was this puzzle. But you had to listen to Zero. You can't dismiss him, because Zero, of course, he's a machine. He's trying to figure things out, or he's not really a machine, but he's a Medusan. So he's trying to figure things out on that kind of level. He's like I said, comparable character to Spock, a comparable character to Data. He's going to compute. He's going to figure these things out. But I still need you guys to work with me. He was so close in the beginning of the episode to solving the puzzle, and then we get to the end of the episode, or in the middle of the episode, he solves the puzzle. He knows exactly what you need, but his hands, he can't do nothing with the little appendages that he has for hands. So pass it on to the next person. And then it took Janeway to not only pass this piece of information on, but to also encourage the next person and to instill a sense of urgency. Because even with her talking to Gwen, she almost, it was like she stopped short of saying hurry up. She was like, we don't have much time here, Gwen. So she's pushing her in a way that any leader would push a member of their team. She's telling Gwen, you got to move, sister, basically. And at the end, all the information came to Rok-Tahk. She already had her words of encouragement from Janeway before she shut her off. And then she got even more encouragement from Gwen. And she still wasn't going to do it. She kept saying she couldn't do it. And she was laying around and she was eating when I say all those bowls, when I tell you it was so many bowls stacked up, that you know that she had been on this ship for what felt like to us probably years. It amounted to years. And we still hadn't gotten, just like Clarence pointed out, we still hadn't gotten to the point where Dreadnought enters the ship and the ship explodes. He hadn't even gotten there yet. It's crazy. So I'm wondering how that's going to affect her. I know that it could be me thinking about something in terms of like being an adult thinking about a kid's show, but I do wonder how that will affect her, or if it will affect her, if they will go that deep into it on a kid's show. You said lucky that it was the long-lived species stuck in the super fast time. And I don't know, like the long-lived species is probably the longest lived of them all, would probably be the Medusan. Now I don't know about what's her name? Rock Talk, what her lifespan, because this is a species that I don't know anything about. But time wasn't moving for her. It was still 10 minutes. It just was an elongated 10 minutes because of the temporal anomaly. So all of that, she lived just like Picard. When we think about that episode of Picard, somebody has to know the name of that episode, where he lived out that entire lifetime on that planet. He had children. He was a member of the community. He learned to play an instrument. All of that in what the amount of minutes. That is exactly the same type of temporal type anomaly that that Rock Talk found herself in. She's not aging. She's not, nothing is going on. It's just 10 minutes. Inner Light. Yeah, that's the episode. So the episode where he lived out that lifetime in a span of minutes. And that is what happened with her. She lived out a lifetime in what amounts to, it wasn't even 10 minutes, because Dreadnought hadn't gotten to the ship yet. You said to her, everything was running in slow motion, but to any observer, she was moving too fast to perceive. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking that the one that was moving too fast to perceive would have been the first one to go, and that was Jankum. Like Jankum, he was gone in like, I mean, his 10 minutes went in the blink of an eye. There was an original series episode about this, and I'm trying to remember which episode it was. Because I can remember this is like a play on several episodes. The title is like a play on an original series episode called Amok Time. And then the premise of Rock Talk reminded me so much of Picard in Inner Light. Then there was an episode of Star Trek Voyager where something similar was going on a planet, where that planet was living out life in their in to Voyager. It was minutes, into on that planet it was just like the Doctor. He went down to the planet and he lived and got married and did all of that stuff down on the planet, where it was just minutes on Voyager. But that was, to me, a different temporal, it was a different kind of anomaly, because Rock Talk still had an opportunity to, so she's not moving in super fast motion. Or maybe, are you saying like if somebody was sitting just like Voyager was watching that planet, Voyager was watching that planet, they were moving to Voyager, I guess, in super fast motion, but to the Doctor down on the planet, he was moving regular time. I think I get you now, Angus. Wink of an eye. Yeah, I remember that. He lived an entire lifetime on that planet. It almost seems like each one of these characters lived uh a different Star Trek franchise entry. You know, I can't say Gwen, but everybody else seemed to have something that you can kind of correlate to another Star Trek entry, which I thought was really, really, really just attention to detail. As we moving into this series, these people have really paid attention to Star Trek. They know a Star Trek dilemma. It's been presented in such a Star Trek way. It had a very Star Trek resolution. I just thought they've done a good job. 5. You were right, Reinhardt. Prodigy is an excellent show. 5 for me, and I've given a lot of 5s in this season, and that's because I cannot imagine them putting it together any better than what they have. TOS episode 3, season 3, episode 13. You know what? Season 3. That's why. That's why. I watched it many times. But season 3 of TOS, while it had some pretty decent episodes, it to me was a very weak, very up and down season. I think the episode that I consider like one of the worst is this season 3. Spock's brain, to me, absolute worst. You're saying season 3, episode 13, the Tholian web. Let me see. A new captain is appointed to the Enterprise, but it's not what anyone on board expected. And when the system goes haywire, Spock and Scotty take off in a shuttlecraft to investigate, but they don't come back. The Enterprise crew must fight for their lives against an unstoppable force of terror. In Star Trek, the original series, season 3, episode 13, the Tholian Web, Captain Kirk and his crew are faced with one of the most dangerous challenges yet: getting out alive from inside an energy web created by beings called Tholians who live in deep space. I remember this episode, but I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember. Oh, wink of an eye. Let's see. Wink of an eye. That's 311. It says 311 here. 11th episode, 3rd season. Normally invisible time accelerated aliens take over the Enterprise. I remember this. Yeah. An attempt to abduct the crew for use as breeding stock. Yeah. The difference is like this ship, Prodigy, was torn into like 6 different ships on 6 different points of time. And yeah, so it was nobody else there with them. Each person was in a different place. Same ship, different place and time. I don't know. I'm gonna have to. I remember this episode. I do remember this episode. It is one of those season. Yeah, blink of an eye. That's the one I was talking about. Blink of an eye for Voyager. Yeah. Y'all watching what is nope, not Star Trek. DC's Peacekeeper. I did it because you did it, Clarence. DC's Peacemaker. Are you guys watching that? Are you guys watching that show? It's been so funny to me. Now, I know last week we kind of didn't talk about it. And I didn't pull up I didn't make up a bunch of slides because I didn't know where we were going to be as a group. Like if everybody wasn't watching it, I'm not going to sit here and talk about it by myself. But if you guys are watching it, we can discuss it. So I understand that Angus is watching it. I understand that Clarence has watched it. I don't know if Reinhardt or anybody else has given Peacemaker a chance. You saw the first 3 episodes, so I won't talk about the Choad less traveled. Even though this Choad less traveled, once you guys get here to episode 4, it is man, I can't wait till you guys get to episode 4, because it is a pretty decent episode. It explains an awful lot about how Peacekeeper, there I go again, how Peacemaker views himself, his relationship again with the father, why some of the things that he does. And this neighbor drags out stuff from him. Like, the neighbor really pushes his buttons. Where you going? Oh, what procedure? You ain't told me about no procedure, Reinhardt, but you have a good night, and I hope the procedure is a success, whatever it is. Clarence said you said you saw the first 3. Angus saw the first 3. You say you got the 4th queued. It's got some raunch to it, but he's fascinated by the butterflies. I am too, and I really wish y'all was where I hate being an episode ahead of y'all, because I know some stuff that you don't know just yet, and I got questions. I've got some questions, or at least I want to know if I'm the only person who thinks this about this character. But Clarence said it's by far the best DC show I've seen. I gotta agree. I didn't know how I was gonna feel, and because, let's be honest, a lot of times the DC side of things has been a kind of a letdown. I'm not gonna say all the time, but the wins are the losses are so recent that that's all I can taste is I got the bad taste of this is going to take a whole L as a series in my mouth. So I gave it a chance, though. Gave it a chance, and here we are. I'm liking the series. So look, like Angus said, it's a bit raunchy, and I don't mind raunchy. As a matter of fact, usually, if I'm gonna watch a comedy, it's gonna have some raunch to it. I'm not a big comedy chick, and I'm not, there are other people who will disagree with you or disagree with me about myself, but I'm telling you, I'm not a big comedy chick. I don't go out and seek comedies. It's just not me. If I watch a show or a movie and it turns out to be funny, that's one thing. But as far as, oh, I gotta watch it, it's gonna be funny. No, not me. Just not me. Clarence says the quality, the cinematography, and the writing seems superb so far, and I never feel like they're wasting my time. I can agree. Everything means something. Even that little freaking rabbit that they keep showing on the dashboard as they're driving, even that little bunny means something. That little bunny with the WB on his shirt, I think, is supposed to be Bugs Bunny, or he says the shirt says obstacles become opportunities. I think that's what it says. Obstacles are opportunities. And even that means something to James Gunn. It's a reminder to himself that for just a moment in time, he had reached an obstacle. The things that he said way back in Lord whenever, and now he's apologized, and the whole world wanted him canceled, and Disney jumped out the window and fired him from the Guardians of the Galaxy, and he got an opportunity at the WB. And I think, here, I'm sorry, let's see. Reinhardt said colonoscopy. Doctor said I needed to get screened because I'm 53 plus with everything that's going on with dad. I need to go ahead and, just check. And I can't wait to get it over because I'm starving. So, yeah, well, I hope that goes well. And I hope that everything is as it should be, all on your innards. Yeah, you can't never take a chance. You have to get those things checked, especially at being, getting to a certain age, men of a certain age. Yeah, men and women of a certain age. We need to take care of certain things. So yes, I hope that everything works out and that you get yourself a really good meal right after it. Okay. Oh gosh. But yeah, I know I'm in the prostate too. I don't mean to like be a downer, but y'all get that checked too, because that's something that y'all need to. Nobody likes it, but you get that thing checked. But anywho, I lost my train of thought. I don't know where I was. I do know that oh yeah, I was talking about him with so he got the opportunity at the WB. He did the Suicide Squad. Wasn't a box office hit, but we're in the middle of a freaking pandemic. I loved the Suicide Squad, even though I know what I'm getting into with a James Gunn movie. This one still exceeded my exceeded my expectations for James Gunnery. So I really did enjoy the Suicide Squad, and also he got this other opportunity to do this Peacemaker show. And let me tell you, we had a character that was kind of nobody in the Suicide Squad, and in fact, you said the good Suicide Squad movie. Yeah, I agree, because that first one did not hit. It didn't. It was bad. It wasn't. No, I can't even lie. It wasn't that great. So yeah, with this character that was unlikable, that was a nobody, that was kind of just tacked. I felt like even his performance, John Cena was still being John Cena, reading some lines or delivering lines. He just, to me, he he wasn't an interesting character. You say you hate dancing in your TV, what you're here for the intro. You know what? I like the intro too. And again, I'm like you in a lot of ways, Clarence, because certain things do not amuse me usually, but for some reason, that shit was hilarious to me, and I giggle watching it, and I'm like, maybe it is just uh James Gunn understands that there are people just like me, and possibly you, out there, and somehow he taps into like that little fine line of this shit ain't funny to it's hilarious. uh he taps on it, and I thought the intro was funny. I'm actually trying to learn to dance now. Spoiler alert, I hurt my back again last week, and guess what I was doing when I hurt my back? You want to guess? Now I was stretching, but I had Beyonce playing. So what's that song? Drunk in Love. And you know how she swing her arms. It be all night. I'm swinging my arms. How you swing your arms and throw out your back is beyond me. So I'm gonna take it real easy when I'm learning the dance to the Peacemaker. But I'm like, I want to move around with them. I thought it was a good introduction to this character, and I'm talking a real introduction. And now I'm seeing John Cena is doing something different. And I'm not saying, he's still a beefy guy, but he seems like he's far more into this character than he's been in anything else I've seen him in. Clarence said, agreed. It could have been so cringeworthy, but it works. This guy just knows what he's doing. Yes, he understands uh, each part of his audience, I guess. Angus said, she's a professional. Do not attempt this at home. Too late. And that's why I ended up having to sleep on the floor for 4 days consecutively, trying to get my back to line back up. Yeah. But yeah, even to the point where with Peacemaker, suddenly I'm rooting for this guy. In that last movie, I had no desire in the Suicide Squad. Excuse me. Ooh, excuse me, I'm sorry. I didn't like him. Didn't like Peacemaker at all. But here in this movie or in this show, he's become sympathetic. We can see that he's even wrestling with the things that he did in the Suicide Squad. And he realizes that yeah, I had to do it. I had to be a dick, but they gave me a good reason to do it. And then we saw him kind of choke when it was time to take out the senator's family. And God, I can't wait till you guys see episode 4 so we could talk about this thing. When he was tasked with taking out the senator's family, they didn't give him any good reason. That's why he couldn't do it. There was no and he would still have wrestled with it because there were children. Even though one of the children was homely, that makes it even harder for him to kill this kid. But it was, you can see that even though he's doing this job, he's not really loving it. He's just doing it. Angus says, I like that they made Peacemaker's father the racist ass. Oh my gosh. That informs Peacemaker's character and explains his personality problems while encouraging us to root for him. When you see episode 4, when you pull that thing about your cue, you're going to understand it even a little bit more. Just a little bit. It's like they James Gunn and his team introduce incrementally reasons why you should love Peacemaker and hate his daddy. And Clarence said, I like how they challenge all of his flaws throughout the episode. Yep. And I mean the narcissism, the misogyny, the and again, the job that he has, what he is being called to do. Furthermore, when you flip that thing on its head, there is a character in the show that is going through a very similar journey as him. And that is, and I can't think of her name, Waller's daughter. I think we've gotten to the point. If you've gotten to episode 3, you know that that's Waller's daughter. So Waller's daughter, she's having a very similar journey. Each episode, somebody says something negative about her mother. It's challenging the way she looks at her mom. They are on similar trajectories, and by they, I'm talking Peacemaker and her, and I cannot think of her name. You said Peacemaker is going to be a real hero by the end of this redemption tale. I agree. And I'm wondering if this is something that they're planning a season 2 for. Damn, I can't even talk about that. You guys haven't seen it yet. I don't want to say it because I don't want to ruin it. But they might be, it appears to me that we could maybe be getting a season 2. And yes, Angus, I like her too. I like Waller's daughter as well. She's a little naive. She probably sees her mother as this big hero, but she is her beliefs about her mama are being challenged every week. Every week somebody says something that makes her think twice about her own mama. It's not just Peacemaker. Each person has some type of growth, or they add something to the other character, the two characters' growth, and that is Waller's daughter and Peacemaker. Vigilante. You know what? When I think about these characters, just these two, because they're the only like kind of supposed to be quote unquote heroes or anti-heroes or whatever they're supposed to be, it kind of makes me think of The Boys in some ways. Not a lot, not beat for beat or anything like that, but it does make me think of The Boys. Yeah, that sidekick guy, Clarence. He is. He's fantastic. He reminds me of Napoleon Dynamite in a in a superhero costume. But again, he sees himself as Peacemaker's best friend, and he's gonna do anything he can to, even though they do it in some very screwed up ways, they're doing anything they can to protect one another in this little quote unquote friendship. Vigilante reminds you of Kick Ass. Now, who did Kick Ass? I mean, who was the director? That wasn't no James Gunn thing. No. Who did that though? I wonder. I'll have to look it up. I'm not 100% sure. Was that a what's his name? Seth Rogen thing? I'm just curious. Yeah, I'm just curious now. Matthew Vaughn. Matthew Vaughn. Oh, it was based on, okay. The that whole Miller world. Yeah, the rest of his shit. I can't say about I can't say about the rest, but they wanted to do that whole Miller world thing over there on Netflix, and that didn't work out, I don't think. You said Vigilante is definitely not well. I can't wait till you guys see the next episode. It is gonna it's gonna add a little bit more to the butterfly tale, and it is going to also uh it's going to also show you how Peacemaker views himself, especially in this universe that he's in. And this little old neighbor, that little guy that lives next door to his dad, telling you, he the one, he pushes his buttons, he says some things, and he gets a reaction out of Peacemaker every single time. So yeah, I love it. I really I don't know, I don't know what I can say, what more I can say about not the Choad Less Travel, because you guys haven't seen it. But what about the series in general? These 4 episodes were exactly what I needed to come to a point where I'm like, okay, Peacemaker is legit. John Cena is actually a great actor. Not a great actor, but a pretty good actor. He's done far more with this character than I would have thought possible, and I'm here for it. So I'm ready. I'm ready for episode 5. It's only 8 episodes, unfortunately, because I'm really starting to really love this thing. But I'm ready to see how this thing wraps up. And gosh, I can't wait for you guys to see it so we can talk about this. You said hopefully this show will force Marvel to not cut quarters on their Disney Plus shows. Exactly. You can't let up off the gas. So really, especially now that we know that we're getting Moon Knight on March 30th. Um, and God, the trailer for Moon Knight just looks so fantastic. I'm super duper excited for that. And it was so heartbreaking that young man, we talked about it yesterday, Gaspard Ulliel, who who's going to be playing Midnight Man in Moon Knight. He was one of the he was that young French actor who died in that skiing tragedy. And we're going to be introduced to this young man that we're not going to see moving forward, but I'm still very excited for the series. He's a better than wrestling. They say he's a better than wrestling actor. Well, he does. Yeah, better than wrestling. Oh, I like. I'm liking what I've seen, because it was. I don't know if that was. Where did I see him long time ago? Was it GI Joe or was it Transformers? It was one of those Hasbro things. And he really, when I saw him in that movie all that time ago, I was like, he needs to stick to wrestling. Incrementally, I've seen him do better, but to me, this is the most layered performance that I've seen him give. He's not dimensional. That was G.I. Joe. I thought it was. It wasn't the one with the Wayans guy in it. It was another one, wasn't it? Yeah, G.I. Joe. I wish they bring something else about that too. But anywho, that was to me the end of what I got for Peacemaker, since I can't go no further here. uh yeah, and I'm wondering if Clarence says Cena is knocking what they're giving him for this show out the park. And I'm wondering if it's because somebody is finally challenging him and not writing a character down for him. So now you write a character and you dumb the character down and just say, go ahead. Okay, John, say these lines because you're popular and people will just come out because they see you on the marquee. Whereas it seems like James Gunn is like, okay, John Cena, I'm gonna need you to act. Now cry. Now show sadness. Now show fear, hesitation. Now show, and we're getting all of these different. We're getting nuance. There's just so much more to the character than just being big. Hey there, D. Say better late than never, girl. Better late than never. Oh gosh. But yeah, I'm truly enjoying what Cena is doing with this character, what James Gunn has trusted him to do with the character. I feel like maybe that's been the problem this whole time, that they're just banking on the likability of this person, John Cena, rather than saying, we need you to pull something from a place. Think of any time that you've ever been sad, pull something from a place and put that on your face. Make your face do that, and he is he's doing well. I'm very proud of him. That's a lot of growth that I've seen him as an actor. And again, I don't know if we should credit that to James Gunn. I'm thinking because I saw similar differences in Dave Bautista. And finally, before I move on, well, before because it move on, it's been almost 2 hours now. But before, yeah, and you said the show is truly funny. It is, and it's not like laugh here. It's like just real uh kind of the office type humor. Or there's another show that me and my son used to watch together. What was it? Not The Office, Workaholics. And I know Workaholics ain't for everybody, but me and Quinn will watch Workaholics and die laughing. And it's not like, they're not trying very hard. They're just, their version of regularity is just so ridiculous and over the top that, yeah, I truly enjoy it. So I think that's the kind of humor that I gravitate towards. If you're trying to be funny, you probably are not funny to me. Just me. um oh, James Gunn talked to the guy that's playing Mern, the little leader of this task force. James Gunn is going to bring him into the MCU. He's going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And there are rumors about the character. Nothing has been announced just yet, but there are rumors about which character he's playing. And I'm like, I really hope they give him that to do. Yeah. I don't know I mean, do y'all want to know what the rumor is? Maybe I'll do the rumor show a little bit more often. Maybe once every couple of weeks. I did a rumor show the other day, but it's the High Evolutionary. That is the rumor. Nothing is in set in stone. So if he's the High Evolutionary, he's giving him something to do, and I am so here for it. Well, Clarence, I didn't even wait for you to ask. I just dropped the bomb. You said you want to know. Yep, the high evolutionary. That is him. Oh, said James Gunn is a better director than Joss Whedon. That's right. I said it. Well, you know what? In just this point, period, people seem to like working with James Gunn. I think Joss Whedon has given us some results. The Avengers to me was super duper stellar. Just Joss Whedon. But if people don't like working with you, then you're really just a piece of shit, And I can honestly say there are people out there who will say I'm a piece of shit. They didn't enjoy working with me. But I don't have that reputation following me from project to project to project to project. And Joss Whedon has seemed to be that person. I'm always taking movie review requests, Angus, especially from you. You've given me some shit to talk about. All last year, you gave me two great recommendations. Karen, which turned out to be the worst fucking movie of last year. Brazen is sitting there right now for me. Brazen, terrible movie. Absolutely terrible. Right now, that's the first 1-star movie of my year. And then you gave me the vampire one. What the heck was the name of that movie? It was just there. Blood Red Sky. And that was one of my favorite movies of the year. So yeah, Angus, whenever you want to give me a recommendation, I will take it. Yes, sir. But yeah, but as far as Joss Whedon is concerned, I'm like, I don't know, I don't know. Especially because he's got so much. Oh gosh, and I watched Star Trek Picard. I've been rewatching that, and that's how I kind of had to in the middle of the night. I'm up sending I'm up sending Clarence a message. Like, I got this theory. I'm like a freaking crackhead, like, like up at night in the middle of the night, and I don't have nobody to say this to, so I'm gonna send this message to Clarence so he'll see it when he wake up. But I got a theory. But anyway, I was watching Picard, and the word is hubris, and Joss Whedon has the hubris to just feel like he's too big to say I'm sorry to these people that he's hurt. And until he says that, I gotta leave Joss Whedon alone. Now he hasn't been working on much lately, thank goodness, because he's put out some great series, and I would hate to have to be like, I can't even fuck with it, because all you have to do is apologize for me. Like James Gunn, you said some horrible things 10 years ago. You said you were sorry. You've demonstrated that you are sorry. Then I can mess with you. And I've given that the example of Mike Vick. Mike Vick, a lot of people had his head on the platter. Mike Vick said he was sorry. He did his time. He came out. He's demonstrated a different pattern of behavior. I fuck with you, Mike Vick. I cannot mess with Joss Whedon because Joss Whedon simply doesn't think he's done anything wrong. And that to me is fucked up. Davina liked Blood Red Sky too. You like how I just switch gears like that? Zack Snyder's director's cut of Sucker Punch. Now, where am I finding that? I might have to look and see where I can find it. Now, I'm gonna tell you, you paid me back, Angus, and I appreciate it. Angus paid me back for Karen. He gave me he gave me my money because he was like, I owe this to you for Karen. So I appreciate that, Angus. Where am I finding Sucker Punch? And it's got to be the director's cut. Okay. You said director's cut is important because it has a more sensical ending. And Angus said, Josh, gosh, what is wrong with my mouth? Josh, I still can't say his name. Josh may get sued hard if he's seen to be apologizing for something he did. Okay, don't apologize. Like, there's a non-apology apology. I'm not telling him to say, I'm sorry I did these things, but if you had a less than stellar experience working with me, if you feel like I've done something, if you feel that way, I don't feel that way, but if you feel that way, then I'm sorry. You know, that was the uh that's my corporate apology, and it has worked. People say stuff to me and then you come to me with a complaint, and you know what, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm not apologizing saying that I did anything wrong. I'm saying that you feel like something, so I apologize that you feel like that. You can't even do that. um Angus said it's old enough that it should be available for rental. Maybe Prime has it. Okay, we're gonna look and see if it's on Amazon Prime. And Claire says, you agree with Angus. He's probably not doing it for legal reasons. He really needs to apologize. And don't forget, he did one of my favorite short-lived series of all time, Firefly. And that's where I'm wrestling, Clarence, because we talked about that last week when you saw the similarities between Dow and Kaylee, and then I'm like, okay, I had been hearing great things about Firefly, and then I look it up, and it's Joss freaking Wheaton. I had to stop my doggone angel, my angel reactions and all of that. I just, if these people were on this set and it's on Netflix, Angus, great. If these people are on this set and and he just didn't treat them well and he refuses, it's one thing to just, again, non-apology apologies go a long way too. And yeah, he did. He said a whole lot of stuff to these people. And even in this interview, and I talked about it yesterday, but this is a part that really pissed me off about Joss Whedon, where he said Gal Gadot's first language isn't English, so she probably misunderstood me. Are you fucking kidding me? That lady, it's not like she doesn't speak English at all. It was so demeaning what he said about that lady. And as I read that, I sat back in my chair and I was like, this fucker don't realize that he is digging the hole even deeper for himself. He will never get out of the hole that he's in. He should hope that an apology would be enough. Especially after saying that about that lady. And this is not, oh, they misunderstood, or oh, they're only telling you this. This was your words in an interview that obviously this lady, the interviewer, has to have a recording of you saying that. And that to me was effed up enough. How dare you say that about that lady? Yeah, D. At this point, if he's not apologized or half-ass apologized, he doesn't believe he should have to, and he feels that it's beneath him. And that's how I look at it too, D. He feels like not just that apologizing is beneath him, but the people who, and they're not asking him to apologize. It only makes sense. Professional sense to say something that sounds conciliatory, because I also understand what Clarence and Angus are saying, that if you apologize for stuff, if you just point blank say I'm sorry that I did this or whatever, then you are admitting fault. But if you even give the corporate version of an apology, and we have all, if you've worked in the corporate world or been a corporate representative for any brand, you know that there are non-apology apologies that you could say that might put a little band-aid on the way somebody feels. And he refused to do that. Yeah. He said he told her he's the writer and she's going to shut up and say the lines, and he can make her look incredibly stupid in this movie. He also told her that she would not work in Hollywood again if she didn't do what he, how he says do things. And she said, he made threats against my career. He made threats against my career. And did he make her look incredibly stupid in that Justice League movie? She wasn't the same Wonder Woman. She wasn't the same Wonder Woman as the Wonder Woman movie. He did. He dumbed her down. He made her look stupid. I can't understand how you was allowed to get away with that shit. And I didn't know, of course, but of course, there were points in time where I was not as obsessed with every single detail. I didn't know that he used that whole misogynistic vibe of his on Black Widow as well, Scarlett Johansson. And I just think that the man, again, if you apologize, show your pattern of behavior. It's the same thing. Dee and I talk about this a lot, where I talk about R. Kelly. If R. Kelly would have just, the first time that he went through this type of thing with these underage girls and this little sex scandal, if he would have at least displayed, even if you're not going to say sorry, you're not going to admit fault, if you displayed a different pattern of behavior after that, people would have forgotten by now. Now you got bigger trouble and you got to start all over again, hoping that when you get out of prison, if you get out of prison, that people will see your pattern of behavior, see that you have changed your ways. You have realized the error of your ways. Ha! And you have become a more productive member of society, and then maybe people fuck with your music again. Yeah, when people think they're the shit, this is the attitude they have. And the thing is, Joss Whedon was a pretty damn good director. Of course, I can go back. Angus says James Gunn is greater than Joss Whedon. Right now, that's the truth. And I think we can go out on the limb and say, depending upon the success of Peacemaker, it's going to be 100% the truth. But that fool just can't get right. And you know what? You shouldn't even. You see how long it's been? You said Joss Whedon about 15 minutes ago, and I went on a rampage about Joss Whedon. So, and I know R. Kelly was like, "Why you bringing me up?" So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna try to find this Sucker Punch on Netflix, and I'm going to watch the director's cut. Yeah, you said R. Kelly is going to be singing from jail until he dies because he thought that he was untouchable. Yep. He ain't the only one. It's a couple people that's going to find their way to prison because they doing the most out here thinking that they can't get in trouble. Two things before I check out. Thing number one was the Aaron Rodgers. Have you ever seen those memes? Aaron Rodgers mess around and lose to San Francisco in Green Bay in their favorable under their favorable circumstances, because the weather in Green Bay is a little treacherous, and here comes the California team and they beat you on your field in your conditions by a stinking field goal. And look, I didn't watch the game. All I read was the memes, and the memes were hilarious. So that was the first thing that I wanted to get out the way. The second thing I want to get out the way is support the show so I can watch movies that Angus recommends to me. Dee also recommended a movie to me, Caligula. Her mama recommended it. to me, but I got to get the uncut version. I'm a little afraid of that. You said there's a Wisconsinite that you're going to torment over that, Angus. It was so freaking funny to me. And he looked so freaking devastated on the sidelines. And I'm like, yep, be sure your sins will find you out. That's something that my mama used to say to me. That I would do something way back there. And then way over here, I get caught for it. And my mama used to say, be sure your sins will find you out. Now, his sin, of course, the one I'm talking about, he got caught lying, and now you paying the repercussions. That's it. You don't lie. No Super Bowl for you. You said, oh my God. My brother put on Facebook that the Packers have been immunized. They said, it was people saying that he was immunized against the Super Bowl. Oh, and the Rams won over the Buccaneers. What? Wait a minute. I'm sorry. So you mean to tell me, wait a minute, we not gonna have no Tom Brady either? I'll definitely watch the Super Bowl. I will definitely. All I want to see is some different faces in the place when we're talking about the Super Bowl. I'm gonna watch the Super Bowl and then probably I'm gonna watch the Super Bowl and then I'll probably watch Bel Air because that is coming on right behind the Super Bowl. He said the Rams trashed the Bucks. What was the score? Can I ask what the score was? Look, now I'm looking for my phone. Now I'm looking for the score. The Rams almost didn't win. I'm glad almost don't count except for in horseshoes and hand grenades. Shucks. Ooh, that was a good game. That would have been one. You know what? I might watch it. Ooh, yeah, the Bucks came back, huh? Well, if they needed another touchdown to win the game at the absolute least, and they didn't get that. And you said when you was watching it, it was 30-6. So that defense was like they put the hammer down in the. I'm going to say the second half. I don't know what quarter it was when it was 30-6. Wow, that sounds like that Super Bowl that I was watching when I was just so sure that Tom Brady and them was going to lose. And then here they come. Here they come. You said you were so mad and yelling at the TV. So it was 20-3 when you last had seen it, and I think that's what you're telling me. It was 20-3, and then they came back, made this a 30 to made a game out of it. He said almost came back. Brady almost came back. Yeah, that's the thing. And me and my dad, that's something that me and him used to talk about. That ain't no lead. Me and him used to always say, when you playing against Tom Brady, when you're playing against Peyton Manning, when you're playing against even Aaron Rodgers to a degree, that ain't no lead. Ain't no lead. You said it was 3 minutes left in the third quarter. The score was 27-6. So they went on a flipping run. So, fumbles. So we talking about the defense really put the hammer down. So this wasn't Tom Brady's comeback. It was the defense putting them back in the game, which, to be quite honest, when I'm watching a football game, unless I'm watching my Bears, and I don't even watch them that much anymore, but when I used to watch the Bears, I want to see a blowout. And I'm watching anybody else, I want it to be a low scoring defense led game where my defense versus your defense. Now, who is going to put in the most work this week on the field? And to honestly, I think the love for defense came from the 85 Bears because nobody could F with that defense. Nobody. They lost one stinking game. So I can honestly say that was probably one of the best defenses that I had seen until we started getting into Pittsburgh and and the Ravens D. So, it gotten to a point though, like Chicago was synonymous with defense until they weren't. You said Brady was sacked so much in this game. But Brady capitalized on the fumbles, right? But you have to, when you have to rely on the defense to get you a position, to put you in the position to score. The defense on the opposite team was doing their job. If they sacked him, put him on his back, and then your defense has to go out and truly, their defense had to be on point too. If your defense got to come out and like literally damn near score points or put you in the position to score points, keep their defense on the field, tire them out. The strategy behind the game. I love the chess. Even though we were talking about how I'm like, I don't think I can watch football. I don't think I can like football as much as I used to, simply because of the head injuries. These men they're going into, they get to be my age, and all they can eat is soup. They're not themselves. And I'm like, okay, now we put the kids in younger and younger to play this sport. I don't know if that's a good thing anymore, but I still love the game. Still absolutely love the game. I don't know if I can get behind it. And yeah, of course, I'm going to say the Bears, just like you, D. I love the Bears. They just don't love me. I don't know. I didn't watch one game this year. Not one single game. So I don't know if the offensive line has gotten better. I don't know if they're protecting the quarterback any better. I don't know what the defense is doing. I know nothing. It's so sad, because if you took a look through my Facebook page to the point where I had Bears from head to toe, down to my shoes, everything was Chicago Bears, and now I can't F with them. Angus said, as much as you love soup, you'd rather enjoy it without the concussions. Yes. And D, yeah. I don't know, thinking about kids in football. Now, Quinn, my son, he never wanted to play football. That wasn't going to be him. Nope. Not about to hit me. But he will play basketball. And they wanted him because my son he's tall, and he's got the build of probably like a wide receiver. He's big like that. Like, very tall, 6'4", 6'5", and he's got the build. He's not super big. He's kind of long. Got that wingspan. My son would have been a hell of a wide receiver, but he was like, I am not playing football. Thank you very much. And look, we didn't started talking about something entirely different, even though you can talk about football on Stream Something Sunday, I guess, right? Y'all did stream it, didn't you? That's how I'm going to watch it. If I decide I'm going to watch the game, I'm going to watch it through streaming. But yeah, thanks for joining me. If you want to be help the show, become a patron. Go over to patreon.com/Tasha Pierce and pick a tier, any tier. I would appreciate any support that I can get, especially as long as I got Angus keeping me working over here with these movies. So look for a movie review for Sucker Punch sometime soon. And yeah, and I'll see you next week when we talk about Prodigy. The Book of Boba Fett, which is winding down. Prodigy is winding down for the first half of its season as well. And the Peacemaker, which I am loving. And I don't know if I gave a score for this last episode that I watched, which was, I would guess it would have to be a 4 on Peacemaker. With all that being said, it has been a blast. I have enjoyed talking to you guys, and I'll see you next week. Peace.